Most people think they have a spending problem. They don't. They have a trap problem. That $1,200 iPhone you just bought, it's already lining up its next 4 purchases. Not because you're bad with money, but because of a 260-year-old psychological mechanism that every major consumer brand has quietly built its entire marketing strategy around. You'll meet the man behind it in about 2 minutes, and once you understand how it works, you'll never make an unplanned purchase the same way again. You walk into the Apple store. Your old phone works fine. Battery's a little slow, tiny crack in the screen, but you convince yourself it's a productivity tool. It's for work. So you drop $1,200 on the new iPhone Pro Max Titanium and walk out feeling sharp, successful, like you made a smart move. Then you get in your car and look at it. It's sleek, it's futuristic, and suddenly your frayed $5 gas station charging cable looks like an insult to the device. MagSafe charger, $40. You get home and the cheap plastic case looks ridiculous on titanium. Leather case, $60. Then you realize your old wired headphones are incompatible. AirPods Pro, $250. Within 48 hours, that $1,200 purchase has silently become $1,550, and you didn't feel a thing. This isn't a willpower problem. This is a psychological chain reaction that's been destroying personal wealth for centuries. It explains why lottery winners go bankrupt within 5 years, why a dream home renovation ends in credit card debt, why a single treat yourself moment turns into a lifestyle you can't afford. And if you don't know why this keeps happening, it will keep happening every single time you upgrade anything. We go back to France, 1765. Denis Diderot, philosopher, co-founder of the Encyclopédie, and the guy this whole effect is named after. One of the most brilliant minds of the Enlightenment, and completely broke. He lived simply. Worn rugs, a rickety chair, a scratched-up desk. He was content, genuinely at peace with what he had. Then Catherine the Great purchased his personal library for the equivalent of $50,000 today, while letting him keep every book. Overnight, Diderot had money, real money. So he did what most of us would do. He treated himself. He bought a scarlet robe, luxurious, elegant, fit for a king. He put it on, looked in the mirror, and felt transformed. But then he sat down at his old ink-stained desk, and the contrast hit him. The robe was magnificent. The desk was a disgrace. So he replaced the desk. Beautiful mahogany writing table. Perfect. Until he looked at the floor. The rug looked like a rag next to the mahogany. Replaced. New Damascus rug. The curtains looked cheap. Replaced. The chair looked like firewood. Leather armchair. New paintings, new sculptures, new mirrors. Month after month, he systematically replaced every object in his study until the entire room matched the standard of that one robe. And when it was over, Diderot was broke again. He later wrote an essay about it. The title alone says everything. Regrets on Parting with My Old Dressing Gown. In it, he wrote, I was the absolute master of my old robe, but I have become the slave of my new one. That is the Diderot effect. One new possession resets your baseline. Everything below that baseline becomes psychologically unbearable, and you spend not because you want to, but because everything around you is demanding to match. Has this ever happened to you? Drop it in the comments. In 1765, Diderot had no algorithm, no Instagram feed showing him exactly what a man of his new taste level should own, no one-click checkout, no buy now, pay later at 0% for 12 months. Today, the Diderot effect isn't just a psychological quirk, it's a precision weapon, and consumer brands are the ones pulling the trigger. Take the fitness identity spiral. You buy a Peloton, $1,500. Solid investment, you tell yourself. But when it arrives, you can't ride it in your old college gym shorts. You don't look like the instructors on screen. So, cycling shoes, $150. Compression shorts, $80. Branded tank, $50. Then the bike looks out of place in your living room, so you build out a dedicated workout space, yoga mat, dumbbells, wall-mounted TV. You didn't buy a bike, you bought an identity, and that identity has ongoing dues. Here's what's actually happening inside your brain. The moment you own something high status, your identity upgrades to match it. You are now a Peloton person, a Porsche person, a new kitchen person, and your subconscious immediately starts auditing everything else you own, flagging anything that doesn't fit as a threat. That's not weakness. That's your brain doing exactly what it's designed to do. The problem is that consumer brands figured this out decades ago. They don't just sell you the anchor item, they sell you the identity. And identities have ecosystems. This is exactly why fake it till you make it is one of the most financially dangerous pieces of advice in circulation. Buy the Rolex before you've earned it, and that Rolex will demand a wardrobe, a car, and a social life that will quietly hollow out your net worth. Here's where most people get into real trouble. They calculate the cost of a purchase in isolation. Can I afford this $10,000 kitchen renovation? Wrong question. The right question is, what is the full chain reaction cost? You redo the cabinets. Clean, modern, white. Looks great, until your decade-old refrigerator suddenly looks like an eyesore. It works perfectly, but visually it breaks the aesthetic. $2,000 for stainless steel. Now the floor looks dated. $5,000 for hardwood. The kitchen is a showroom, but it's open concept, and now you're staring at a living room that looks like a rental unit. You repaint the downstairs, buy a new sectional. Final tab? $35,000. You budgeted $10,000. The cabinets were the robe. They didn't reveal existing problems, they created new ones. You were perfectly satisfied with that refrigerator before the renovation. The upgrade manufactured the dissatisfaction. And here's the second order cost nobody talks about, the cost to your behavior. When Diderot had his old robe, he wiped his pen on it. He owned it completely. After the new robe, he was afraid to breathe on it, constrained by the very thing meant to bring him pleasure. Buy an expensive white sofa, and you'll stop letting friends drink red wine in the living room. Stop letting the dog up. Stop actually living in your own home. You become the curator of a museum, not the resident of a home. The object isn't serving you anymore. You're servicing the object. So here's the real question. If this is hardwired, if your brain is literally designed to trigger this spiral, what do you actually do about it? You can't just stop buying things. But you can rewire the inputs. 3 moves. The first is about math. The second is about inventory. The third is counterintuitive, and it's the one most people never consider. 1. Calculate the system cost, not the item cost. Before any anchor purchase, car, console, renovation, map the full ecosystem it will demand. A PS5 isn't a $500 decision. With a 4K TV, second controller, and PlayStation Plus, you're at $1,500. If you can't absorb the system cost, you can't afford the anchor. Don't invite the vampire in. 2. One in, one out. The Diderot Effect feeds on accumulation. New item arrives, old item stays, tension builds, and you spend trying to resolve it. Cap your inventory. New sneakers come in, old pair leaves. New appliance arrives, old one goes. This keeps you in the mindset of a user, not a collector maintaining a shrine. 3. Manage your anchor items deliberately. The lower your visible status anchors, the lower the required cost of your entire life. Drive slightly below what you can comfortably afford. Wear a clean, functional watch instead of a status piece. When your anchors are modest, there's no pressure to upgrade the ecosystem around them. A low-maintenance identity is a cash flow asset. Every dollar you're not spending on lifestyle coherence is a dollar compounding in your index fund, your Roth IRA, or your next real investment. That's not deprivation. That's leverage. Consumerism is engineered around one premise, that you are perpetually incomplete. Always just one purchase away from the person you want to be. Diderot proved 260 years ago that it's a lie. The purchase doesn't complete the picture. It scrambles it, resets the board, and starts the cycle over. So, before your next upgrade, ask yourself one question. Am I buying this, or is my last purchase demanding it? If it's the latter, you're not making a decision. You're executing someone else's revenue strategy. Master the robe. Don't let it master you. Want to see why it gets way more expensive when the Diderot effect scales up? That's in one of my next videos. Subscribe so you don't miss it.